Quincy Jones' book, Art Education in America, he states that it has been proven time and time again in countless studies that students who actively participate in arts education are twice as likely to read for pleasure, have strengthened problem-solving and critical thinking skills, are 4 times more likely to be recognized for academic achievement, and 4 times more likely to participate in a math and science fair. I don't know about you, but those sound like some pretty good qualities that I want to encourage in my students. Hey, homeschool mom, I'm Erika Sagert on the Intentional Homeschooler podcast with more actionable steps and encouragement for your homeschooling journey so you can confidently and intentionally homeschool your children without sacrificing your sanity. Grab a pen and paper, your favorite cup of brew, and let's get started. Today, I want to explore the power of art to inspire creativity, foster self-expression, and bring beauty into our homeschool days. Whether you consider you're an artist or not, I believe everyone can benefit from engaging with art. So let's get started with some simple and accessible ways to incorporate art into your homeschool curriculum and discover how it can transform your learning experience. So today I will be talking about visual art. I'm not going to talk about music today, but definitely that is one of the arts, and I will cover that in another episode. So first of all, why art? Albert Einstein once said, "Logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere." So art fosters imagination and creativity. It contributes to more activity in the visual cortex, which is in the frontal lobe of the brain. Art stimulates both brain hemispheres, so it helps with the crossover between the left and the right brain, which is very beneficial. And it activates the brain's pleasure centers, which can create a feeling of warmth and encouragement. Art can also reduce stress, it improves well-being, promotes mindfulness, and it strengthens neural connections in the brain. Studies have shown that arts education can have a positive impact on overall academic performance, including improvements in reading, writing, and math skills. Art can also enhance engagement and motivation in school, particularly for students who may struggle in traditional academic subjects. It also will prepare students for future careers, as creativity and innovation is significant in all types of careers. So art education is not just about producing beautiful objects. It's about nurturing well-rounded individuals with creativity, critical thinking skills, and cultural awareness needed to thrive. So it's an essential component of a comprehensive education that prepares students for success in both their personal and professional lives. Wow, those were a lot of really good benefits, and I hope that you can see why art education is so important. So that was the why teach art. Now I would like to get into the how do I teach art. So first I'll start with just a few practical ideas for integrating it into your school day. So first of all, keep it simple. Don't feel pressure to do elaborate projects every time. Simple activities can be just as effective. Focus on the process, not the product. So encourage students to experiment, explore, enjoy the creative process. Don't let them focus solely on the end result. A lot of times they might not be that happy with the end result, but what happened during the process is so important. Provide a dedicated art space. Art can be messy. It doesn't have to be, but it's good to have a space specific for art so that the mess can be there and they can find the supplies that they need. Another thing to keep in mind is you can use readily available materials. You don't have to go out and buy a bunch of special art supplies. Just use what you have. And then connect art to other subjects. I call that integration. So when you integrate art with other subjects like history, science, and literature, it will make the learning more engaging. Plus, you're getting all of those benefits of art right along with your core subjects. All right, let's talk about some traditional art ideas. So traditional art ideas, what I mean by that is exploring different art elements like line, color, shape, and texture. So you can incorporate those across the curriculum, like I said, and you can think different age groups. So let's start with line as one of those art element. So for younger kids, you can just have them practice different types of lines. That's straight, curved, zigzag, and just using crayons, markers, or even fingers and shaving cream. And then as they get older with exploring line, you can have them explore line weight, contour lines, cross-hatching for shading, and the use of lines to create patterns and textures. So color is another art element to explore. So for younger kids, you can have them learn their primary and secondary colors through mixing paint, making rainbows, creating collages that are colorful. Perhaps you can explore color sorting activities. And then as they get older, you can study color theory, including color wheels, complementary colors, warm and cool colors, and how colors evoke different emotions. All right, shape is another art element to focus on. So for younger kids, identify basic shapes, circles, squares, triangles, in their environment, so in the natural environment, and also create pictures using shape cutouts for drawings. As they get older, you can explore geometric and organic shapes and how shapes are used to create form and composition in art. Try some tessellations. MC Escher is a really fun example of tessellations in art, or you could create 3D forms from paper. All right, so texture, our last art element that I'm going to talk about today. Create textured collages with your younger kids. You can use materials from fabric scraps, sandpaper, cotton balls, and paste, or try making rubbings of different textured surfaces. For the older kids, you can help them to learn to create the illusion of texture by drawing and painting using shading, line work, and different brush strokes. It's really intriguing how you can create texture with the different drawing and shading techniques. All right, so how about we talk about a couple art techniques and specific project ideas. So for drawing, you can use just your basic Ticonderoga pencil or crayons or colored pencils. You can get charcoal, you can get really fancy, or just keep it simple. So there's some basic drawing exercises like drawing circles, squares, and lines. And then you'll want to gradually introduce more complex subjects like still life, landscapes, portraits, things like that. But just keeping it simple. And then there's always painting. Now, painting is really quite entertaining since there's so many different kinds of paint. Watercolors, tempera paints, and acrylics. For collage is another idea, one of my personal favorites. I like to gather a bunch of old magazines, and have the kids go through and make some sort of design on their paper using collage. They can layer, they can add words, can even print images that you find online or whatever it is, but I just think they can become this beautiful artwork for somebody who is a little hesitant in the area of art. Then there are always sculptures. So sculptures can be simple. You can start with Play-Doh or different kinds of clay, recycled materials, or different objects to create 3D art. Then we have printmaking. So explore different printmaking methods like potato printing, leaf printing, or foam printing. All right, another area of art that we can explore is art appreciation and history. We can learn so much about history and about art by looking at famous artists. So you can do a study of their artwork and talk about the similarities and how you know how it's their art. Just by looking at their various art pieces, you'll see some continuity that will show who the creator is of those certain pieces of art. You can read artist biographies, books, or watch videos or documentaries about different artists and their lives. You can also recreate famous artwork. So try to recreate famous paintings or sculptures using different materials. Lastly, the last idea I want to go over today is that art is also things that you might not think about. So think things like Lego building. So Legos, I know there's lots of kits these days. It seems to be all the rage right now. I love them. My kids still love them. I think it's really cool to go old school and just have a big old box of Legos and encourage students to build free form. So just taking those different Lego pieces and coming up with some really creative structures that way. What about game design? This can be digital or board games. So there's all kinds of different techniques that you can use in both of those. What about photography and filmmaking? Pretty much every family has at least one smartphone in the household. Smartphones have pretty good cameras with a lot of different adjustments that you can make to the photo. So that can become a really fun way to explore art for the hesitant artist. Also filmmaking, putting together some sort of story and filming it and editing it and all of the things. And then, of course, there's just a touch on music a little bit, but there's music and sound design. So exploring different instruments and experimenting with sounds and learning basic rhythms and melodies. And then there is creative writing and storytelling, as well as the culinary arts, cooking and baking, making a beautiful cake that's decorated or cookies, or even presenting a main dish in a beautiful artistic way. So as you can see, there are just so many things we can do with our children. It is such an important thing to discover together. Recently, in the last couple of years, my son Caleb has encouraged all of us to explore art. He took a drawing class, and ever since then, he has had an interest in art, and he's learned different techniques, and he finds it to be a very relaxing activity outside of whatever work it is that he's doing. He can focus in, and it relaxes his brain, calms it down, and helps him to focus on something else. He even encouraged our family a few times to all get something artistic, come to the dining room table, and enjoy it together. That was one of my favorite things. He's living across the country right now because he's attending school, but those were some wonderful times, and I really appreciated him encouraging that. So maybe you can try that with your family. Get every single person involved. It could be simply making a card. It could be just drawing a picture. It could be cutting something out. It could be working on organizing your photos. Something creative, doing it together. It's amazing the conversations that you can have while everybody's working with their hands. And it's just everybody has a chance to relax and spend some time together. So art is important all throughout, from preschool to graduating from high school. In high school, there are 2 credits that they have to have here in the state of Washington, which is quite a bit of art credit, but I say it is worth every minute. especially when you think back to those benefits that I gave you early on in the episode. We all need to relax. We all need to create some more connection between the right and left side of our brain and all of those other things as well. As we've explored today, art in homeschooling, it's so much more than simply drawing and painting. It's a way to connect our family, a way to connect with our children. Also, it gives us a chance to explore different cultures and time periods and just to simply cultivate a sense of wonder and appreciation for the world around us. So, whether you're building with Legos, you're creating digital art, or simply doodling in a notebook, remember that every act of creation is valuable. I hope this episode has given you some food for thought and inspired you to embrace the artistic journey with your family. All right, homeschool moms, let's show some love. If you've been nodding along and thinking, yes, someone gets it, please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're listening to this episode. Your reviews help other homeschool moms find this podcast and get the support in their homeschooling journey. It's like a virtual high five that can reach moms all over the world. Let's make the Intentional Homeschooler podcast the go-to resource for encouragement, practical tips, and actionable steps. You could also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And don't forget to tune in every other Thursday for a brand new episode. Until next time, you've got this, Mom.